What's up, dudes? So we have 2 lessons coming in. I can't find my signs. Here they are. Somebody might find some signs, something like that. So the first lesson is on the butter maiden. So Spirit just kind of prompted me, so I kind of call them downloads. It's divine creativity where I work in conjunction, I hear, with Spirit. And all of a sudden, something pops in my head, and then I record it. And so Spirit said, let's talk about the butter maiden, Aquarius. The Land O'Lakes butter maiden. So I'm going to Google it. Is that offensive? So that's a tricky one. It depends on how you look at it. Because it's art. So Gemini, Aquarius and Gemini. This lesson is for you. Is it cultural appreciation or cultural appropriation? So where I come from, there is kind of 2 major Native American tribes, Ojibwe and Sioux. When Land O'Lakes company decided to do their butter maiden, they were doing appreciation towards the culture. And so what they did was hire a Native American artist to come up with a butter maiden. And so the man who created her was Native American. And that was an act of cultural appreciation. And he was always very proud of the butter maiden. So is it like a cultural appropriation mascot that this major company did and fleece the idea of Native Americans? Or was it a cultural appreciation where they found a Native American artist and said, we'd like you to make a butter maiden? And this is what he came up with to celebrate his culture. Because the second one is what happened. I think there's a couple years back, I saw a really great video on YouTube where his family members talk about his artwork and what that experience was like. And so I'll see if I can find it. If that interests you, I'll link it down in the comment section of this video. All right, so that's for Aquarius and Gemini. Energy has come forth to bring that message. Now, next message is for watery moons. So Scorpio especially, Cancer and Pisces energy in your moon placement in your chart. If you don't know what your chart is, if you just know, like, I'm a Libra, that is your sun sign. And you have all sorts of different placements in your chart. You can figure out what your chart is. There's free conversion things. You just type in your birthday. All you have to do is Google free birth chart or free natal chart, Natal. And then you'll find all the different placements of what your specific chart is. So we're talking about the moon placement. And we're talking about watery moons. And that can be a tough placement. So if you have Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces in your moon placement, this message is for you. So the moon energy can be filled with illusions. It can be filled with existential dread. It can be filled with intensity. And so the way you can conceptualize it is imagine like the moon on Halloween, where the vibes are all like weird because it's Halloween and it's a full moon out, but the clouds are kind of going over the moon, so you can kind of see something, and then all of a sudden it'll get totally dark, and then it'll kind of see a little bit, very illusion-y, that creeped out kind of weird feeling. That's the essence of a watery moon. And with that can come existential dread. With it can come imposter syndrome, lots of anxiety. And so when you understand that you have that placement, then you can take note and be aware that this feeling that may seem to wash over you and things like that may have to do with the moon. Now remember, I think we're having a full moon on Monday. Next full moon. Yes, Monday, October 6th. So you have to remember the moon absolutely affects people. We've all heard about it. On a full moon night, everything goes crazy. Hospitals go crazy. Jails go crazy. Like everything, people act weird on a full moon. But it's not just the moon. And that's the waxing and waning stages of the moon all the way up until the full moon. If you are a sensitive, you will be affected by that energy. And so you have to imagine it is like a roller coaster up to the full moon. And I'm a very sensitive person. My daughter is too, with moon energy. And I sometimes sleep. I just really like feel the need to like hibernate right before a full moon. Sometimes on a full moon or around the full moon or right after the full moon, I'll get so creative feeling, energetic feeling. And so you have to understand that. Now keep in mind, like the moon's pull does affect planet Earth. We know it affects the tides. We know we're a bunch of salt water, yeah? And so if you be aware of that, you can say, okay, I'm riding the moon right now, and it's affecting me, and it may be affecting me in a negative way, but I'm being aware of it. And that's what's called doing the work. When you hear in spirituality, like they're doing the work, it's being in the present moment and being aware of why you may be feeling however you may be feeling. And then to understand it's going to peak on Monday and then it'll go back down. But it's not just like the full moon. If you're sensitive, you will feel that coming up feeling. It might be dread. It might be, if you don't realize what that is. And if you're a newly activated starseed, something like that, you for sure feel the moon. So let's do a fun, interesting thought exercise about the witch on the broom during the full moon. So, especially during my starseed activation, I had some full moons where I was listening to music, vibing so hard with my music, drawing, just being extra creative, creating. I felt like I was riding a horse that night. I was riding the moon magic. It was like visceral. You could feel it. And so that's the concept of the witch on the broom. So imagine a farm woman back in the 1800s on a full moon, and she's sweeping her floor, but in the vibrations, she is out there riding that broom around. The vibrations, you can feel it, the power of it. And so it's very interesting when you start to take note of it. If you're a sensitive and if you've had an awakening, you're for sure co-creating with spirit now. And so you will see all sorts of signs, synchronicities. People may be seeing number synchronicities like crazy. The veil gets very thin. If you're a sensitive, you may have more supernatural type experiences. And just remember that there are two kinds of people on planet Earth. There are people that understand the intelligence, like they're sensitives. They understand exactly what I'm saying. You may be one of them. There are other people who say Molly is crazy, and they can't understand the intelligence. They haven't had the turn of the evolutionary wheel. And you may have people who ridicule you or pass a judgment, but you know it's a lower vibrational ego-driven judgment of somebody who hasn't awakened or can't understand the intelligence. But it can still hurt your feelings. And so what I would say for that is just remember, you can't expect a gorilla to cook you a souffle just because they have an opposable thumb. They're never going to understand. And we also have to allow people to dislike us. Especially if you've been a scapegoat of your family. You may have been trained since birth, or a scapegoat of whatever situation, where it was your responsibility to settle all the energy and prove that you're a likable person and they just misunderstood and all that kind of stuff. That comes with a lot of anxiety. And a lot of people, that was your role, maybe your whole life. And so part of doing the work is allowing people to dislike us. And because they're going to dislike you whether or not you allow them to. And there's a wonderful message by a man. I'm going to find the video on why we should allow people to dislike us. So there's the 3 messages that are coming through for Aquarius, Gemini, and Watery Moon people. I'll put those videos in the comment section here on this video. And this video originated on YouTube, the Tarot DJ. And that's what I'm talking about. If you feel nervous about clicking links, I do get it. I promise I'm just a spiritual guide. I'm not nefarious linking. But I put the title too. You can copy the title and paste it into the search on YouTube and that video will pop up. But if you click the link, it'll go straight to the video. All right, there's the message. Yeah, now turn the frown upside down.